Helen's notes. A Course in Miracles. Helen's notes. So this is all just Helen writing. This is not um, channeled material here. Automatic writing. Looking at it. The way to shift from defense to protection is to recognize what is really happening to both of you and correct it. This is what is meant by the strength of miracles. None of that's in the book. Miracles make time and tide wait for all men. Miracles make time and tide wait for all men. They can heal the sick and raise the dead because man himself made both death and taxes and can abolish both. Note, tax also means strain. Look up miracles. I think the third definition is best, therefore, in quotes, that which or one who is of surpassing excellence or merit. So not much of that is in the book. I believe the statement there, they can heal the sick and raise the dead. That sentence, or close to that sentence, is actually in A Course in Miracles. I'm gonna okay. So Jesus of Nazareth, he did do these actual physical miracles. They are described in the Urantia book, Urantia. As far as his actual miracles, they are described in the Urantia book. So, as far as walking up to a cripple and saying, "Get up, pick up your bed, and walk," that one happened. Um, Jesus did raise Lazarus from the dead. So the book says something like, they may have healed the sick, but they didn't raise the dead. In terms of spiritual progress, like I think that's what the book is saying. A Course in Miracles. There's a sentence in there, um, something like, they may have healed the sick, but they didn't raise the dead. So to me, the idea is that um, the real goal is, full and complete God consciousness. Jesus of Nazareth had full and complete God consciousness, um, after his baptism, um, completely. So, um, the goal is to do the goal is complete God consciousness, which could be anything, in terms of actual physical miracles, just joy and love that are expressed in words. It, the will of God could be anything in a sense. So, uh, not that anyone is going to be raising a dead man back to life unless it's God's will. According to the Urantia book, and in my beliefs, that has only happened one time in the history of this world. In the history of this world, an actual bona fide, real man who was dead. I believe in the book, as far as Lazarus, they say, he was fully dead for 4 full days, something like that. But a man who was actually truly dead, brought back to life. That has only happened one time in the history of this world. So, um, you know, um, achieving full God consciousness is not going to give someone whatever. In terms of, it's always about the will of God. What is the will of God in any given moment? Is it a kind word? Is it an actual physical miracle? It could be anything. But it's all about growth towards joy, strength, peace, goodness, tenderness, love, care, consideration. Um, zero mental upsets, anxiety, doubt, fear, remorse, guilt, all of it. That is definitely ACIM teaching. That's how we're always supposed to be. Holy, joyous, conflict free, deep sense of peace, zero negative emotions at any time. There's a lot to that subject, I suppose, but that's the idea. Um, I believe Robert Perry in his book Circle of Atonement. I think he left in the little bit here about death and taxes. It might be in that edition. I don't have anything per se to say about it. Look up miracles. I think the third definition is best. Therefore, that which, in quotes, that which or one who is of surpassing excellence or merit. I don't. None of this is in the book that I recall, but miracles. Whether it's an actual physical miracle or an epiphany of thought in terms of love and goodness, peace, generosity. Personally, I'm definitely working with ideas about uh, um, uh, warm approval of everyone in every way at all times would be having no judgment in ACIM ideas to me. So warm approval would be of everyone at every time would be a miracle. And lots of all those positive types of things are miracles. In my understanding of ACIM, A Course in Miracles, that which or one who is of surpassing excellence or merit. I'm just thinking about maybe the sentence in the book. All all real pleasure comes from doing the will of God. That's a sentence in the book. Um, there's a little part that comes before that saying something similar, and then the actual sentence in the book is, "We have said before that all real pleasure comes from doing the will of God." So ACIM, A Course in Miracles, talks about sinless, pure, and holy. It does not use the word moral. It does talk about right-minded and wrong-minded. Um, so the book does not use the word moral. However, morality is absolutely essential. So, um, uh, all real pleasure comes from doing God's will. The sentence in the book about um, the only valid use of sex is for procreation. I believe that's verbatim. So that's it. Sex is for procreation. And there's a few sentences in the book about it. So that's just a fact. Now, um, uh, another statement in the book about that, in a sense, is um, I, you, or anyone will have guilt. Will have guilt. I'm paraphrasing, but the sentence in the book is similar to this: I, you, or anyone will have guilt if I make a brother what he is not. In other words, what every brother is, every human being alive is you know believes in um, the only valid use of sex is for procreation. Everyone believes this as their real selves. As their real selves, this is how everyone operates. So, to make a brother what he is not would be if I, you, or anyone engaged in sex that's not for procreation, then I'm making someone else what they are not, because their real selves believe that sex is only for procreation. So, I, you, and anyone else does not want to experience guilt feelings of any kind, and not the slightest mental upset, no anxiety, fear, remorse, doubt, loneliness, worry, etc., etc. None of the negative emotions should ever be experienced. Um, so the idea of uh, staying away from guilt, and so guilt will occur if I violate that principle of sex is only for procreation. So this is in it. This is in the book, A Course in Miracles. This is in the book. So I will say that about uh, being excellent. Being excellent was something I read there about that. I do not know if the word excellent is actually in the book, A Course in Miracles. It probably is. I'm not positive. It should come up here as I go through the entire text here of A Course in Miracles. Via Helen's Notes. Helen's Notes is what I'm looking at, a PDF. You are a miracle. God creates only, quote, that which or one who is of surpassing excellence or merit. Okay, I think that's an unquote there, although the second pair of quotes is missing. But man is capable of this kind of creation too, being in the image and likeness of his own creator. Anything else is only his own nightmare and does not exist. Only the creations of light are real. You are a miracle. So there's a sentence in the book. Children are miracles in their own right, to get across the idea that sex is only for procreation. You know, a miracle would be the highest state of joy, peace, strength, tenderness, love, goodness, zero doubt, fear, remorse, anxiety, loneliness, worry, guilt, etc., etc. So children are miracles in their own right, to get is a statement in the book, along with sentences that go, sex is only to have children. There's a couple sentences like that. I'm paraphrasing, but you are a miracle. So everyone is a miracle. And in A Course in Miracles, um, the book has the sentence, "You are not special." That sentence is in the book, meaning that everyone does the will of God. You know, there's no exceptions to this rule. Absolutely everyone lives the will of God. Um, you know, nothing can be done on any type of long-term basis that's not the will of God. So no reason to do anything that's not the will of God, because you can't do it eternally anyway. So um, that's an idea to me in the book about you are not special. But then also the book says, all my brothers are special. All my brothers are special. That's another sentence in the book. So what's that mean? Well, you know, using the word special both ways. So all my brothers are special, meaning, you know, those who live perfectly in the will of God in terms of joy and peace and goodness are certainly unique in terms of personality and character, or at least personality. That's a big discussion in the Urantia book, Urantia. The Urantia book talks much about um, personality and character in terms of uh, uniqueness of personality. There's a lot of discussion in the Rancha book about that subject, but that would be the idea. Um, you know, all the perfect sons of God in terms of those who are living holy, joyous, conflict free, deep sense of peace, no negative emotions. Those who are living that way, man or angel or spirit being of any kind. Those who are living that way, you know, would be in with the sentence. All my brothers are special. That's what that sentence would mean. Man is capable of this kind of creation too, being in the image and likeness of his own creator. That may be in the book, A Course in Miracles. I don't recall it um, real well or completely, but certainly it's a good idea there, or you know, a truth. You know, man is capable of doing everything in every moment, thought, word, and action, in every moment, filled with nothing but joy, peace, goodness, strength, vitality, exuberance, sense of humor, confidence, all of it, tenderness, love, kindness, all of it, moment to moment. That's how everyone truly is. That's their real self, capital S self and ACIM. And so everyone is capable of that moment to moment. Um, because we are all in the image and likeness of the Creator, God the Father. The Universal Father would be the term in the Urantia book. You know, the first person of the Trinity, God the Father. God Himself would be an expression that's used a lot in A Course in Miracles. But A Course in Miracles definitely very plainly says, we are created by God. All humans are the children of God, created by God. That is said very plainly in ACIM. Um, doesn't matter which of those types of terms you use for God. So that's what the biblical statement of being in the image and likeness of God means, that everyone can live and has in their mind the truth of their capital S self, in terms of always filled with joy, peace, goodness, strength, vitality, exuberance, love, warm approval of everyone in every way, judging not, living that way moment to moment. Everyone has that mentality already. Just the blocks to its full awareness need to be removed, or the blocks to its awareness need to be removed. ACIM, says things very strongly, in the sense of the way it puts its ideas, phrases its ideas, puts its sentences. ACIM, you know, says very strong sentences to get across the ideas of of not living in the ego and living in the God mind. Anything else is only his own nightmare and does not exist. So there you go. When ACIM says and does not exist, like the ego mentality does not exist, as far as doubt, fear, remorse, guilt, anxiety, shame, loneliness, worry, any of it. None of those negative emotions. Grievances, holding grievances, grudges. What's the other word they use? Whatever. I'll think of it. But holding grievances, things of this nature, being angry in any way, having any resentments in any way. Those things do not exist in the eternal truth. They don't exist because they're not God's will, and therefore they don't have an eternal reality, but they are a temporary problem. And ACIM talks about all this, but the way it strings together its sentences, to make paragraphs to get across its idea, is it will say very strongly, like in this sentence here, and it does it throughout the entire book. You know, so the sentence goes like this: anything else is only his own nightmare. This sentence might be in the book, A Course in Miracles, or it might be rephrased. I'm not positive, but as far as nightmare, that would be ego mentality. Doubt, fear, remorse, anxiety, any negative emotion would be nightmare. And then there's a comma there, and it says and does not exist. So, um, a strong statement that it doesn't exist at all. But what it really is a temporary problem. Um, but that's how ACIM wants to say things. Like it'll say that sentence there says and does not, the ego does not exist, with a period, to get across the idea that it does not exist, to get me, you, and anyone thinking that it does not exist, um, in proper understanding. Okay, so only the creations of light are real. Again, there's a capital C, capital L here for creations of light. Again, anything that's filled with vibrancy, goodness, joy, love, peace, strength, tenderness, warmth, warm approval, high respect. Another truth is I, you, and anyone should only have high respect for everyone at all times. Um, Another truth, no judgment. So, um, joy, peace, goodness, strength, beauty, understanding, honesty, etc., etc. All the positive truths, realities, ideas need to be lived, and they are the only truth. Nothing else is true in terms of the big picture, the long, Okay, so here comes some Helen's notes. By the way, okay, so no, this is all just Helen, just strictly Helen. It's not um, the automatic writing of A Course in Miracles. So here's a sentence. Ugh. Miracles rest on the law and order of eternity. That may be in the book. It may be in the FIP version. It might be amongst those initial statements that come at the beginning of the book, kind of single sentences. Um, but in any event, miracles rest on the law and order of eternity. Yes, they do. Everything is about the will of God. Uh, you know, God is the first person of the Trinity. In A Course in Miracles, there's one sentence. It says, God is first in the sense that he is first in the Holy Trinity itself, and he made his co-creators, something like that, implying that or saying directly that God made the other two members of the Trinity. That to me is what it's saying. It's only one sentence in the book about God, you know, being the first person of the Holy Trinity. It doesn't even use the word person. So, but that's my belief for sure. The Urantia book talks about God the Father a tremendous amount in terms of the first person of the Trinity. So, um, and everything is about the will of God, whether it's the second or third person of the Trinity, or a high spirit being, or an angel, or a human. Everything is about the will of God in terms of living the will of God. Everyone, every moment to moment. That's the only goal, the only thing to perfect in terms of human life or any life is to live the will of God as God would have it lived, live the will of God to God's satisfaction, all those types of ideas. So miracles rest on the law and order of eternity. So the laws of God is an expression in A Course in Miracles many times, and there are laws of God. For example, the only valid use of sex is for procreation. That would be a law of God. And and the law and order of eternity. So there is law and order in terms of the spiritual realm. Uh, I suppose that's a big topic. Certainly, the Urantia book and other books besides A Course in Miracles get into that topic in terms of specifics. Some more here that definitely looks like just Helen writing. Um, I'm not going to read it out loud or say anything about it. It's not A Course in Miracles. So, miracles are a part of an interlocking chain of forgiveness, which, when completed, is the atonement. This process works all the time and in all dimensions of time. A very good example of how this is accomplished is the time you rewrote the entire report for Esther. All right, well, definitely that part there about Esther is not in the book, but this earlier sentence is. I'm certain. I'm certain it's in there, maybe verbatim. Miracles are a part of an interlocking chain of forgiveness, which, when completed, is the atonement. Forgiveness. So, anywhere, anytime, I, you, or anyone has ever had a negative emotion of any kind, doubt, fear, remorse, anger, resentment, um, was not acting with warm approval and high respect towards everyone in every moment, about everything. Any moments like that need to be forgiven completely. Forgive myself, forgive others if I feel like um, others have done something. Of course, um, that's another subject in the sense of you are invulnerable. You cannot be attacked verbally, physically, in any way. In real truth, in the highest understanding of those ideas, um, the idea is I am responsible for what I see in A Course in Miracles. In other words, I create my own reality through the nature of my beliefs, would be a Seth statement from the Seth books by Jane Roberts. But all those ideas have to be understood, lived, as far as, I am not a victim of the world I see. All those ideas have to be understood and lived and come into play in terms of what real forgiveness is. So, um, forgiving everything from being a small child on, forgiving everything about anything that was, um, you know, anything that had any negative emotions in it in any way, thought, word, or action. Anything that wasn't completely perfect, joy, peace, strength, joy, um, um, tenderness, love, and all that needs to be forgiven. So when completed is the atonement. So the atonement would be, to me, the atonement would be enlightenment. Jesus at his baptism, when full God consciousness came to Jesus of Nazareth at his baptism, for example, in terms of phenomenal state of joy and peace and strength and goodness, and zero negative emotions, zero doubts, zero concerns, zero uncertainties. Um, just truly feeling that way, living that way, being that way, thought, word, and action, every moment, moment to moment. That's what living timelessly is living that way every moment, moment to moment. Um, that's what I believe ACIM is saying about that subject. This process works all the time and in all dimensions of time. A very good example of how this is accomplished is the time you rewrote the entire report for Esther. No, that's not an ACIM. Let me see here. This process works all the time and in all dimensions of time. I mean, I could say that, you know, timelessness. I mean, God Himself, the first person of the Trinity, knows everyone in their perfection. God knows everyone as everyone is in terms of perfect joy, perfect peace, perfect God consciousness. That's how God knows everyone. So God is timeless in that sense, and in many other senses and ways. God is timeless. Definitely, that topic is definitely discussed in the Urantia book. There's a lot of it in the foreword. The foreword to the Urantia book would discuss that type of subject a lot, I believe, and other places in the Urantia book. That those ideas would be discussed as far as the timelessness of God. And the book even says, God Himself in Havona. This is in the Urantia book. In Havona, Havona um, has a time system. In other words, that's the sentence. I believe it's in the Bible and/or conventional literature. Um, Something about 10,000 years of Earth time. Earth time. 10,000 years of our world's time would be like a day to God. And the Urantia book explains that that's true. I believe I have the numbers right, but it's the idea that um, I believe it says 10,000 years of this world's time would be one day to the central creation, Havona, um, in what in that idea, understanding of what time is. So for Uversa, Uversa, that's also in the Urantia book. Um, uh, a tremendous amount of time goes by on this world comparatively to how the Ancients of Days and other beings of Uversa view time on their sphere. There's one sentence that I'm thinking about in the Urantia book. It says, while the Lucifer rebellion lasted maybe 2 years at this level of creation, in this area of the universe, um, the Lucifer rebellion may have lasted roughly two years, I believe it says in the Urantia book. I could be wrong, something like that. And then it says, but to Uversa, a higher sector of the actual physical universe, the time it took for Lucifer to be arrested after his rebellion was 2.5 seconds. So there's all kinds of information in the book, the Urantia book, about the dimensions of time. ACIM does not get into that subject, certainly not the way the Urantia book does, in great detail. In great detail, the Urantia book gets into that subject. A Course in Miracles might mention the phrase a few times as far as time, timelessness. This might be the only place where I see the phrase dimensions of time. I don't know. It could be in there other times.